Hey, what's up, guys? It's the Film Geek here, and I just got back from seeing Up in the Air. Originally, I had not planned on seeing this until it came out in theaters, but today my mom and I saw a commercial for it, and she asked me how it was. Told her I didn't know because I hadn't seen it. She's like, "Oh, well, you should see it and then tell me how it was." And I was like, "Well, I'm kind of broke, so unless you want to pay the $5.75 for a matinee," and she answered, "Bring me my purse." So I went and saw it. I thought Up in the Air was absolutely brilliant. I cannot say any other good things about this movie. It was fan-freaking-tastic. It stars George Clooney as our main guy. Then there are two lead females that I've seen within the last couple of days in other movies. The love interest is played by Vera Farmiga, or Farmiga, however you pronounce it. She was the mother in the movie Orphan. And then the co-worker, the young co-worker, is played by Anna Kendrick, who is in the Twilight series as the friend of Bella. If you guys saw New Moon, she's the girl that Bella went to the movies with. So there's that. Overall, all the acting was absolutely amazing from all the characters, both the leads as well as secondaries, and even some of the bit parts. I read that some of the people who get fired in this movie are real life people who have been fired, and just kind of explaining their mindset when they were being fired for the movie. If you're not familiar with the story, George Clooney plays a guy who works for a company that basically they hire him out to companies that downsize, and he does the firing for them. Then Anna Kendrick's character, Natalie, has this idea to basically digitize that entire process and do it via streaming webcam to do the firing, rather than spending the money to fly Clooney and the other 20-some employees to various parts of the country. And during this, George Clooney ends up having to show her the ropes because he objects to this digital way of doing things, and so she has to go out with him to see how it goes. And he has a little booming romance with Vera Farmiga's character that they kind of hook up solely because they both travel lots. And I might not be explaining the story right, but personally, I thought the story was out of this world, mind-blowingly amazing. I am extremely cocky about my writing. I write screenplays and short stories and poems, and in my opinion, my screenplay writing is probably better than at least 85% of Hollywood writers out there. I believe that Hollywood needs to hire me to do writing, both for movies and TV shows, because I think I'm more original and better at dialogue than most of the people out there. However, I not only thought that Up in the Air is better than anything I've ever written, I think that Up in the Air is better than anything I've ever even thought of writing. I think it is better than any story idea I've ever had in my life. And coming from someone who's as cocky about his writing as me, that's definitely saying something. That's high, high praise. The screenplay was written by Sheldon Turner, who, when I just looked on their IMDb page, they're also writing the Magneto movie, and Jason Reitman, who was also the director. It's based on a novel by Walter Kim. I did not know that. I've never heard of this book, but now I really want to find the book and read it, because the movie was absolutely amazing. I don't know how good the book is, but I got to do an I'm not worthy kind of bow here to Sheldon Turner and Jason Reitman, because the screenplay of this movie is out-freaking-standing. It is just stunning. The cinematography of this movie is also really, really, really good. And they had a really creative idea. Instead of doing the typical establishing shots of the buildings, like, for instance, let's say they're going in an office to fire someone. Instead of showing an establishing shot of the building, they instead Their establishing shot is a bird's eye view of the city the firing will take place in, and then they just kind of superimpose the title of what the city is right over the middle of the screen. I thought that was actually really cool. I didn't like the font of the city names, but I thought it was a really cool idea. Something we haven't really seen before, and they did it every single time, too. They, like, kept with it, and I thought it was a really unique and interesting way of doing an establishing shot. It was really cool. The music in this movie, like, definitely keeps you right there in the movie. I know, if a movie has a bad soundtrack, you start to notice the soundtrack, and you stop thinking about what you're seeing, start thinking only about what you're hearing. In this movie, in Up in the Air, the soundtrack blends so well with the story and the visuals that you don't even realize it's there. I cannot tell you a single piece of music that is in this movie because it just seamlessly meshed together and made it all one experience, and I thought that was really, really cool and really well done. I thought Up in the Air, I have nothing bad about Up in the Air to say other than not liking the city fonts. And really, that's not enough of a thing to not like to knock it down any points. That's right, I'm giving Up in the Air a perfect 5 out of 5 rating. I know you guys probably think, oh, I'm just giving high ratings to everything lately. Everything I've been seeing lately is really good, except New Moon, which was an absolute disastrous car wreck of a movie. I'm seeing great movies lately, and I'm happy about that. For once, I'm a very pleased moviegoer. So yeah, Up in the Air, 5 out of 5. You definitely need to see this movie. I think it's officially wide everywhere. I know it started off limited release, which is why I haven't seen it earlier. It's recently become a wide release, so everyone should be able to see it, and I think you need to see this movie. I've heard a lot of complaints of, oh, it's got a depressing ending. Okay, yeah, the ending of it is kind of sad, but that makes it more real. The whole depressing thing of this movie is that it is so real. It's something that could and probably has happened. It's stuff that's really happening, and it captures all of the emotion of not only the people who are getting fired, are getting dumped, but people who are doing the firing, doing the dumping, being on their own, and all of the different sides of it. You've got the Natalie character who, like, has this mindset that she needs a man in her life. She needs to find love, needs to find marriage, needs to have that, like, relationship bond. And then you have George Clooney, who's the exact opposite, but he changes throughout the movie. You know, he has no desire whatsoever to be with another person for life. He has no thoughts of marriage, no thoughts of commitment. In fact, during the movie, he goes along with his firing job, he also goes on speaking event, like tours with his book, where he teaches people to be non-committal. Until towards the end, with his relationship with the Vera Farmiga character. It's really well written. Everything about this movie is ingenious. See Up in the Air as soon as you can.